So just continuing on, talking about our press man technique and progression here. I think everyone's kind of doing this a similar way. Hopefully, I can give you some sort of buzzword that can help you. We've tried to define it in this progression. So number one, stance. Obviously everything's going to start with stance, like we talked about in the alignment. And then number two would be our alignment. We talk about our alignment in relation to a divider system. I kind of left that off here. I think that's specific to us. But I think it's important for you at your program, whatever coverages you're playing, you need to have a divider system that teaches your secondary players how to get their leverage based on the coverage. And obviously that's different, college to high school, depending on, what field dimension you play on, what are the landmarks of the field, hashes and numbers. But I think it's critical that you have a divider system or a reference point for you as a coach to study routes, and then for your players to feel comfortable knowing how they get their leverage, whether it's inside or outside, based on where their help is and where the receiver split is. Once we take our stance and our alignment, we talk about, the main priority of press is impeding the receiver's release. That means we don't want to give them a vertical release. We obviously want to make them work for width. All right. Once we make them work for width, we want to disrupt the timing of the route. We do that one of two ways. We'll do that with an offhand jam. It could be a two-hand jam if they release right down our cylinder, some sort of shock release. Typically, it's an offhand jam. If they take a radical release, a release outside our cylinder to where we can't get an offhand jam, then we say we disrupted the timing of the route by making them release wider than anticipated. And by doing that, the timing has been disrupted. After we talk about the bottom of the route, which is impeding the release and disrupting the timing of the route, we talk about transitioning. All right. And when we transition, we want to diagnose the release and the route that corresponds. So is it an inside release? Is it an outside release? What hip or body position do I want to be on based on that release? And then what routes can I anticipate based on that release? After we transition, there's going to be a break that occurs. And when there is a break that occurs, we talk about matching the hip of the receiver. Ultimately, the quarterback's throwing the ball to the receiver and not you. If you see the quarterback throw it, you'll see the receiver catch it. These are all phrases we've heard before. So with all that being said, we need to match the hip to find the angle of the reception point. And then once I've matched the hip, I can bring my eyes back late to the football if I'm in phase. The big coaching point we talk to our guys about in man-to-man, you want to see the ball late. You don't want to see it early. If you see it early, it's going to be caught. And then the last thing we'll talk about is the finish phase, right? Obviously, interception being priority number one. Priority number two would be a pass breakup based on where we are on the receiver and where the receiver is on the field, red zone, pinned to the sideline, in the hash area, wherever that may be. How are we going to finish? Are the big things we're talking about there. And then obviously, if you can't get a PBU, we got to get them on the ground and live to play another down.